Hey, huns! Welcome to another story time. And if y'all read that title correctly, yes, this is a story time about the time where I got bullied and got suspended for it. Yes, y'all, I got bullied and got suspended for being bullied. So, I'm going to try to keep this story pretty clean as far as cursing because I want children who probably is around the same age I was at the time. I was 13 at the time. So I want children who's around that age, 11, 12, 13. I want them to be able to see this video and know that they're not alone. Know that you will get through it. School doesn't last forever. And just to kind of let them know that, hey, I've been where you are and now I'm doing pretty good for myself. So yeah, just just to know that life does go on. And eventually that bully would be poof out of your life. So this is definitely an anti-bullying video. So yeah, comment below if y'all had like any situation. Like, let me know what age y'all were when y'all had y'all first bullying. So this takes place in middle school. So first detail about the middle school I went to. So the middle school I went to, y'all, was very trashy. It was so ghetto, y'all. Like, normal middle schools would have like food fights. We definitely have food fights, like often. But not only food fights, y'all. We had riots, like where the police would come, throw tear gas. Like, it was so crazy in that school. Our principal, she was fired for cheating, helping students cheat on their tests. And we also had like a counselor who went to jail because her husband was like selling drugs. It was so crazy. I remember having this history teacher who would literally, he would have like this circle carpet and it was like a picture of an earth in the middle. And he would tell, if it was two students in the class who was beefing, he would tell them to go to the carpet and fight. He would tell them to fight in the middle of the damn classroom. Y'all, it was just terrible. It really was. And like back then, children, I didn't really tell my mom because I'm like new to middle school, so I'm thinking, okay, I come from elementary where I had one teacher and everything is all goody two shoe, and then I get to middle school, I'm like, okay, maybe this is just how middle school is. But no, y'all, it was not okay. So if your middle school is like this, tell your mom about it, tell your dad about it, let them know, like, can I switch schools? Because it really was not a good atmosphere. Like, anybody I know that went to that middle school, they don't say, oh, it was called Lafayette, Wyoming. I could tell y'all the name of it because it's closed down now. But yeah, Lafayette, Wyoming. Anybody I know that went to that school, they don't say, oh, I went to Lafayette. They say I survived Lafayette. Because it was just that terrible. Like, gangs, violence, all that. Like, it honestly should have been called Eastside Middle. If y'all seen Lean on Me, y'all know Eastside High. This was Eastside Middle. So, while I was going to that school, my bully, we're going to call him Jay. So I only had one class with Jay. Only one. And that was orchestra. We called it strings. So I used to play the violin. And y'all, this boy was so mean to me. I don't know why he was so mean to me. Like, he was literally the only one in the class who was mean to me. Like, I was so quiet, y'all. Like, I didn't talk to nobody. I mean, well, I did talk to people, but I was still so quiet. Like, I wasn't a bad student at all. My mom, she did not play that shit. Like, I act up when I got home, but in school, in public, oh, you would have thought I was an angel at home. Like, my mom did not play that. So, yeah, so this boy name was, we're going to call him Jay. So, Jay, when I tell y'all, he would do like little stupid stuff. Like in orchestra, we would have like Sometimes we would like switch chairs and everything. And my chair was right next to the teacher. The teacher, we're gonna call her Miss Glasses, because obviously she wore glasses. So when it was time to switch chairs, he would always sit in my seat. And before he'd sit there, he would smell it and he'd be like, it's not funny. It wasn't funny then. It's kind of funny now because that's really some pervert shit. But he would try to, like, I stunk or something. And he was the only one who would do that. So I'm like, I know I did not stink. He was just being mean. And he would like talk about me to other students and just say, oh, she can't play the violin. And y'all, he would just really used to pick on me. Now Jay, he was like five, maybe five at the most. Skinny, had lots. Y'all, I'm describing him because I honestly don't care if y'all know who he is. Like, honestly, because I was trying to find his Facebook. So if y'all know him, we went to school together, and y'all know his Facebook, comment that shit down below, because baby, I still want my one-on-one, period. So, yeah, so Jay was a real a-hole. And, yeah, he was a real a-hole. So this story time takes place after school. So Miss Glasses, she had one of her friends who like actually played in the orchestra. See, she had one of them like come to help us out, give us some notes. So, everybody was excited. Everybody was like ready, like, oh, we'll stay after school. Me, I barely went to school. And I was just like, I'll stay after school. Like, I want to meet this lady. Like, I played the violin for 5 years, you guys. And I just really enjoyed it until I got to high school. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of over this. So I was so excited to meet her. And so I stayed back after school. And I was a part of this after school program anyway called After the Bell. So instead of going to After the Bell, I just went there. We meet Miss Jane. And y'all, she really took a liking into me. So how it was we had like this back room. And we were separated into like little groups. So each group would have their one-on-one with Miss Jane in this back room. So my group, we went last to have our one-on-one. And even when I wouldn't raise my hand because like I said, I was so shy. I was so quiet. So I didn't raise my hand when she like asked certain questions. But she still like called on me and she'll still, ask me a question like, right, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And yeah, like she just really took a liking into me. So when it was time for us to took in everything we learned from Miss Jane and rehearsed together, we all went out to the floor, including Miss Jane. So before we all went out to the floor, Miss Jane pulled me to the side, and she was like, you really remind me so much of me when I was around your age. And she was like, so would you like to sit next to me while during the rehearsal? So y'all, I was like, yeah, like of course, like why wouldn't I want to sit next to you? I was like, yeah. So I get my seat and I went back to get my violin. As I'm getting my violin, I look back and I see Jay in my seat. So I'm just like, what the freak? So I'm like, he really, ugh. So yeah, I see him in my seat. So I'm getting my stuff and I'm contemplating in my head like what I'm gonna say to him, like, cause I'm like, you gonna get out of my seat, like I want to sit next to Miss J. You gonna get up. So I'm like contemplating in my head like what I'm gonna say to this boy. As I walk back to my seat, he's not sitting in the seat anymore. So I sit down in that seat. Next thing you know, here he come. He's like, get out my seat. And I'm like, no, this is not your seat. I was sitting here first. And he was like, no, you want like because he still had his violin and stuff. I just moved that shit out of the way. So he was like, no, my stuff's still right there. And I'm like, yeah, but I was sitting here like Miss Jane said I could sit next to her. So he takes my bow. So bow is like what you see people play the violin with. So he takes my bow, throws it across the room. Now, y'all, let me tell y'all something. I was a shy girl. I was a quiet girl. But don't let the quiet one fool you. Like, when he threw my bow, I got up and I pushed him. So, y'all already know. As soon as I push him, I'm putting him up. Like I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to. Like, I'm ready to get it in. You feel me? Like, I'm ready to hit him up. You know? So after I pushed him, y'all, everybody was like in shock. Like they were like what? My teacher, Miss Glasses, she was so upset. And Jay walks out the classroom like he's done. And Miss Jane, she pulls me down by my hand. She like tapping, rubbing my leg, and and she's like, it's gonna be okay. And she's like rubbing my back. She's like, it's gonna be okay. You sit right here next to me, and we're gonna rehearse. Y'all, I was so mad. I sat back like this. I ain't rehearsed nothing. I sat my tail right back here just like this, cause I wasn't gonna rehearse. Like I was upset. Like at this point, I'm ready to fight. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to show y'all what the quiet girl working with. So after class was over, of course, my teacher, she's like, Mariah, stay back. So everybody got to go, and I had to stay back and talk to her, which was what it was because I still had after the bell to go to. So I stayed back and I had talked to her, and she was so upset, y'all. And me, the number one way I always got out of trouble, to start crying. So that's what I did, y'all. And when I started crying, she just had like this look on her face. So I'm like crying. I'm telling her like he's always messing with me. Like he always bullying me. And y'all, honestly, what's so crazy is my chair was right next to my teacher. Was right next to Miss Glasses. Like, so for one, I'm confused on how she never seen or heard him making fun of me. Like, how could like you're an orchestra teacher and you're deaf and blind? Like, like how did you not see or hear this boy making fun of me? And my chair is right next to yours. So she was like, you didn't tell me this while I'm just now hearing about this. And she's like, I don't know, but you and him is definitely, y'all gonna have some consequences. It might be a suspension, blah, blah, blah. So when she says suspension, like that I might get suspended, y'all, I was like, because this is like the first time I'm gonna be suspended. So yeah, I was like so upset. I'm like still crying. After I was done talking to her, I just got up and left. Now, mind y'all, this was my 8th grade year. So my sister, who's 1 year older than me, she's in high school at this point. But she would still come after school to take me home, to walk with me home. And it was about a 15-minute walk home, y'all. And when she came, I was crying. And she was like, what's wrong? And I'm still crying. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. So we walking home, and she's like, she has like this sad look on her face because her little sister is crying and she don't know why. So I'm like still crying. We walk home, I'm crying. She asked me again, she's like, do you want to talk about it? She's like, do you want to stop talk about it? And I'm like, no. And I'm walking slow. And eventually, she's a Capricorn. So eventually she like, fuck it. Like, we got to get home before it get dark. So she start walking like a little past me. And, yeah. So once I got home and I calmed down, I told her. And I wasn't sure if I want to tell my mom because, y'all, let me tell y'all, my mom, it's a blessing that my mom had the daughters she had. Because when they came to school, my mom used to cut up. Like, she was like, she put the cray in crazy. Like, I remember, like, her cousin telling a story about when she was in school, how this girl had pointed a gun at her. She took the gun from the girl and started pistol whipping the girl with the gun. Like, my mom was really about that life. So I knew, like, if I told my mom exactly what happened, it was gonna be some mess at school, and I just didn't want my mom to go to jail. So, and I know my mom, she would be ready to go to that school, take that little boy by his feet, mind y'all, say he had locks, and mop his ass, mop the floor with him. Like, that's the type of shit my mom would have been on. So eventually I told my mom, like, Mom, um, teacher say I'm suspended, even though I technically wasn't suspended, y'all, but I just didn't go back to school. Like, I didn't go back to school like the next 3 days, and then I went like 3 weeks without returning back to strings class because I was just that upset. I was more so upset because I feel like my teacher was not on my side. Like I don't know. It just kind of upset me the way everything played out. So I stopped. I fell out of love with it. And then when I told my mom what happened, my mom was upset. She was just like, "That's crazy." And then people say that, "Oh, he probably like you," blah blah blah. That's what my mom would say. I'm like, I didn't give a damn about none of that, like, and this, that, and the third. First of all, he was ugly. Okay? Like, so whether he liked me or not did not matter. But y'all, when I eventually went back to school, like, people was like, oh, like, people that in my class was like, oh, Mariah was ready to fight. Don't play with her, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, like, everybody was just so shocked that. Yeah, so if you in middle school, elementary, high school, and you're going through something similar where you have a bully or whatever, y'all just know it gets better. Grade school doesn't last forever. If you're an adult and you're getting bullied, then honestly, just stand up for yourself. Now, I don't play that shit. Like, somebody try to bully me now, like what's up? You know what I mean? Like, back then I was so shy. Like I said, I was more so like worried about what my parents would say. So I always just used to turn the other cheek. And while that was good for me not getting in trouble in school, it wasn't as far as like my self-esteem back then. It really, me not sticking up for myself really didn't do too much. So when I finally stuck up for myself, it felt so good. The boy who bullied me, he stopped bullying me. And one of the reasons was because we got this new girl, and me and her was like really, really close. So when I finally went back to orchestra, like, me and her was cool, and she was a badass. Like, she ain't played no type of game. So I guess I don't know if it was that situation with me and him. He said, like, I don't play that shit, or if he was saying like, I got this friend now, so don't start no BS. Like, I don't know, but that's all I got for the video today, guys. Comment just something supportive for anybody who's going through a situation with a bully right now. Comment, like, subscribe, and don't forget, don't be scared, because I feel like y'all be scared to ring that little bell so y'all can get notified every time I upload. Go ahead and ring that bell. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. But y'all have a great day.